Hello, welcome to Blaine's Escape Corner. It is Fun Time Friday, and that means fun time for everyone but me. As you can hear, I am still dealing with these coof symptoms. Every day's better, that is for sure. But still not feeling great. That's for sure. I need to refill my green tea here. I've got fresh meds in me, so should be good there. I was getting everything set up, and then I accidentally exited out of the window as I was trying to resize it so that it would be the right shape for my window layout here, and now I've got to bring it all back over and do all this crap again. Why is it gotta be such a pain? Such a pain in the booty. Booty! I said, well, only if you knew what I was doing. Anyway. There we go. Alrighty, some chats already. Okay, so shows like Quintessential Quintuplets really annoy me because it's about the destination, and they never got there in a timely manner. What about this? What about Quintessential Quintuplets being about the journey? Being about the guy learning to step outside of his own nerdy self, wanting to study all the time and realizing that it's okay to have friends and meet people and engage with those who are around him and goes beyond that. So I think that if I spoil it for myself, then I can enjoy the journey instead of killing myself waiting for the payoff. That's the realization you came to today. You can do that if you can get to the, if you're one of those who really doesn't care, but then if you can spoil the ending and then you go back, then it's not about the destination anymore. You're just like, oh, I know what New York is like. Now the road trip is just the road trip. It's like, no, the road trip was the road trip the whole time. Yo, John. Call me John. I'm doing okay. My whole ear is just kind of punk, which is annoying. Most of my dealings at this point are just congestion related. Sore throat off and on today, but it's been better than most days, that's for sure. Just lots of water flushing it through. Staying hydrated, staying full of tea. All the pile of vitamins, C, zinc, D, all that gobbledygook that's supposed to help, and you're like, oh, I guess maybe this helps. I don't know. The only way to know if it helps is if you take them and not take them at the same time with the same cold at the same body. So it's not like it's really useful to you in that moment. Blowing my beak. I should throw this away in an actual trash can. I'll be back! I am back! Oh, no, it's entirely about who he ends up with in the end. Alright, how to tackle this one. Quintessential Quintuplets is all about who he ends up with in the end. Ignores how he gets there. Ignores what it took to be there. Ignores everything that you encounter in life that leads to where you will be and what you will be doing. And some of the most important things in life are what we learn as we go through it. as we enjoy it, as we encounter people, as we bounce off of people. I learned more about who I wanted to be with by meeting people that I didn't want to be with than, just thinking about who I would end up with. And I ended up finding my wife when I wasn't looking for a wife, when I wasn't looking for someone in that, even romantically at the time, because you live your life and you do things and you seek things that make you happy and make you have an enjoyable time, and you see how you end up with it. So we're given that twist of he will end up with one of them. And what that little beginning twist is just a promise to the readers that this isn't going to be a redundant harem of he'll be with somebody, but we're not going to make any one team mad because we're going to actually pick somebody who he's going to end up with. And so you get this promise that says some team is going to win. And then we get to watch a story about how one of those teams win. But it's not about which team wins. It's about how they win and what the other people learn, what Foots learns, what they go through to reach that point is more important than who wins in the end. It's why you get people that are, you've got Miku stans, you've got Nino stans, you've got everybody. Itsuka has fans. Everybody has fans in that show, and every block of fans, when you get to the end, will still be able to think that their girl is best girl. The show is not about, oh, this person won. Yeah, somebody gets to claim victory at the end, but at the end, somebody also gets to say, I learned a lot about this character and I really connected on this level with this person. So it's not about specifically who they end up with. It's about how they end up with each other. The show presents the question of who the little girl was. We know he'll end up with that girl. Do we know he'll end up with that girl? That's all you can focus on during the journey to the point where it doesn't matter. I think that's just you then. Like, if you're just hyper focused on like, oh, I gotta figure out this one detail, like that's fine. You can have that one little detail is what you focus on. But I'm gonna say that isn't the general draw for the show for everybody, and that's not what everybody focuses on. Which, as we know in the Escape Corner, is fine if we all like shows for a different reason, as long as we're honest about what the show is overall. But the show in general is a everybody vote for your teams and then see who wins in the end. Yes, we do know. Okay. And I'll ask again, does that change the relationships that he builds as it moves throughout the series? Life's about relationships. Life's about how we meet people and get to know them and figure out how we want to interact with them. And even though I met my wife and I was like, this is going to be my wife, you still meet other people and you build relationships and you still are able to have friendships with other people that mean something in different ways to those other people, but you still know you're going to end up with your wife, right? Like you're just because you have lots of friends doesn't mean that you don't know that you're going to go one specific way. And in life, you don't always get to know, like, oh, I met this person when I was a kid, so I know I'm going to be with them when I'm older. So that's a little bit different. But at the same time, like, it's okay. It's okay. And if you're just killing yourself waiting for the payoff, you could just go get spoiled by it. It's not really, you're going to be upset, I'm guessing. Will you be upset by the answer? I don't know, actually. I don't know. I know that I was upset by the answer because I felt very betrayed. Because because of the team that I root for. But you know, and not everybody is going to feel the same way about their team. They may be like, oh, I'm team Itsuka, and then it ends up like not being Itsuka, and they're going to be like, well, you know what, I still like her. You know, they may be like that. But I think the way that it ended up was a little, really, come on, are you serious here? Like, this is a joke, right? Like, I honestly thought it was a joke. I thought it was a Reddit like meme for a while, but yeah, it's not. I don't know. I think the show's still enjoyable, both when I didn't know and now that I do know. Hasn't really changed the show overall, because the show for me is, again, it's about the interactions. It's about how do we get to that point, because we know it's leading there, but the characters still don't really feel like it's leading there. The characters still feel like they're kind of fighting it, even though they're in it. Have you spurred out over stuff like this? You often disregard certain characters early on when it's relevant that one of those characters wins, so you get annoyed. Happens in Shuffle. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's totally fine. You're allowed to spurg on things. You've seen me rant on Ava. You've seen I mean, this whole channel has been spurging on Shikimori, to be fair. So it's not like anyone's gonna shame you for spurging out on anything. But as long as someone else can come to you with like, hey, you know, it's okay, you can do that. But I would say go ahead and peek. Go ahead and peek. It's okay. But in the grand scheme of your life, knowing which quintuplet wins is not going to be what makes you become Elon Musk or a homeless person. That's not going to be the decision that, like, that's not the butterfly effect that sends you off either to being a billionaire or homeless. This isn't that choice. So go ahead, peek, look, figure it out, and then enjoy the show in a way that makes you happy, because it's better that you enjoy the escapism. Don't watch a show if it's frustrating you because you're like, wow, who is it gonna be? Like, if that's your attitude throughout the show, then go ahead, just watch it. It's all right. Don't make me put the gun down. No, it's all right. You can do it. You can just watch whatever. It feels like I've got a head, like an earplug in. That's what it feels like. Already did. Gonna rewatch to have more appreciation for the character. You won't. Trust me. You won't have more appreciation for the winner because you'll be like, what? Why? Why are we here? Why are we doing this? Until you realize that the show isn't about, like, oh, them just eventually making it to that character, that the show really is about them connecting and interacting and having a good relationship with everybody. Because that's how reality is. Like, if you knew someone who, like, my wife has one sister and I'm friends with them. If my wife had 4 sisters, I'd have to be friends with all of them, like, at some level. Even if we're not, like, best friends, like, hanging out all the time, we'd still have to be cordial at family things. So it's like, you need to build those relationships. So, like, that's what, look at the show like that. Like, it's about that couple's journey. You focus way too much on the destination. Yeah, okay, that's fine. As long as you acknowledge that you do that. Oh, get out of here, Alexa. I think who the couple is the destination in that one. Man, I feel, you know how, like, you get out of a plane or something, or you come down a hill on a car and your ear is just like, I'm not gonna let you listen. Mom. That's what my ear is right now. How can you focus on the journey if you don't know who the couple on the journey is? They're all on the journey. That's the real secret. They're all on the journey. There's just 2 of them that are going to make it to the city, but they're all on the journey together. It's like an old 90s anime where the entire team sets out in the beginning and they're all heading off to go adventuring, and they're like, we're going to make our way to Demon Lord City. And then as they're going, you know, eventually the high wizard is like, yeah, I've decided to stay need the mountain so that I can practice wizardry on my own. And then the warrior, blah, blah, blah. All right, I'll stop. Let's get ready to rate these shows. Today, I watched RPG Real Estate, and it was really silly, and it continues to be just a very silly show. I keep forgetting if these characters are supposed to be like adults or if they're supposed to be kids, because the whole show is chibi except for like the monsters. The monsters are like weirdly monstrous, but we're getting a very deep, dark undertone that is just growing in this show that is is really getting me kind of excited for like what could be around the corner. We've unveiled a like dark prison that was hidden and sealed away underneath the Capitol building. We've got the dragon looming, and we're not sure if it's the best friend transforming or not. Like, we've got this sort of like, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Like, it's a comedy show. It's supposed to be 12 episodes, and it's about RPG character classes that are selling you houses. And it's like, how is this show keeping me so invested? I don't get it. Doga Kobo, you studio crazies with your manga. Whoever wrote this, it's crazy. I'm enjoying it. I still am enjoying it. I'm excited to see where it goes. I could see someone dropping it just because of how it looks, but if it ends up having this dark twist and it's more than just a final episode, look at the darkness, oh, we solved it, everybody, let's have cake, and if it's more than that, then I'm gonna say RPG Real Estate gets a watch it. No, this one's just Real Estate. That's what this one is. You finally checked out Golf Girls. Good. We can talk about Golf Girls. I love Birdie Wing. But before I talk about Birdie Wing, how fitting is it that this week we have been talking about and rating anime swimsuits? I'm dying. And we get Love After World Domination, the beach episode, with an adorable Batwing themed swimsuit from Decime. And for all the people out there who love school swimsuits, you get the Beast Princess. And for everybody out there who wants something a little like, oh, that's kind of strappy, that's kind of sexy, ooh, cover it up, you got the Steel Princess. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna die. Ooh, that exploded. I need to close that more gently. Number 1. Bear in the big blue house. I had hoped that we were gonna see like the whole team in like a swim thing, and when the camera switched to Bear in his freaking lounge chair, I lost it. I absolutely lost it. And we can see here Steel Princess's like sexy strappy tube top thing going on. She's got a cover up down below, but just Bear with the lei, the sunglasses. Like, we've got to make sure that we're on high alert. This isn't vacation, you see. We have to make sure that we are staying apprised of the Gelato Squad. Red in front door, stop moving! God dang it! What are you doing? Turn her down to 0. See if she gets any blah. And then for everybody that loves school swimsuits, we had the Beast busting out in the school swimsuit, and it was like, ho! I knew it. I knew they'd want to see it. I knew they'd want to be about it. And then everybody else is playing volleyball on the beach. Like, I get the feeling that like everybody wants to just have fun in this world, and that the only person who may have like ulterior motives is the evil Lord of Gecko, but even he might be just kind of doing it because he's supposed to. Because we learned that the reason Decimi is in Gecko is because her dad is like a retiree, and his mom is, or her, not his mom, his wife is a retiree from Gecko. And so they signed her up, and she took the test, and she's just freakishly strong, so she was able to pass the test really easily and become a princess. And we learned that she's just in the family business. And you're like, what? Okay, that makes a little bit of sense. And everybody's like, hey, keep working hard. So she's just like, oh, daddy wants me to do this. I'm just doing this because dad is like excited about it. And you're like, okay, now I get it. Now it makes a little more sense. She's not here for world domination. She's here for family happy making, whatever the Asian version of that is. Super awesome. I'd be so happy if Mr. Bear enters the top 10. I wish, is he even available to vote on any of them? Annie Trends or Anime Corner? Let's check. Hold on, let's check. Vote now. Spring. Oh, these are anime. Those are winter best. Okay, so has to be this one. Character polls. The heck is the bear's name, actually? I just call him the bear. It's a toxic family, right? They've got like 4 kids, and like they're just this like evil. We make Culverin Bear. Okay, that's what it is. Bear. Culverin Bear's on the list! I can vote for Culverin Bear. Supreme Leader's on here too. That's funny. Oh, that's great. Okay. I don't know what this is. This straight up just male characters? Yeah, okay. Yeah, here, I'm gonna pop it in here. Here you go. We can vote on the Annie Trends poll for the bear. That's great. Cause the bear and the Iron Princess, they will be the new top ship. This ship is sailing. Set sea, smash the glass. All right. I love it. I love it so much. And then we of course get like the misunderstanding, but it's like a perfectly done misunderstanding, where every time the beast looks, she thinks that Decimi is like killing them. It's super fantastic. Also, interestingly enough, in something that like to you and I is like, well, duh, but to them may not have been so duh, Decimi just joins him at the barbecue. She's just like, yep, hey, I'm here. And she's got like bat wings and stuff on her bikini. And they're like, oh, you seem like a good girl. You must be why Fudo is so happy. And everybody's just fine with it. And it's like, yeah, duh, because she's not dressed up like the Reaper Princess. They could, of course, go on normal dates all the time outside of fighting all the time. I don't know why they always have to coordinate fighting around it. But they're both like kind of dumb with that whole thing. They are not thinking about it as a relationship. And so it's really adorable to see them both just so obsessed with the team and work and what they have to do that they're circling everything around that rather than just being like, oh yeah, if we're not in our uniforms, we can just go on a date. And to wrap back around to Soda. Soda finds Beast and is like, "Hey, what are you doing? You must like me pretty much. You like me a lot." I don't know what, like, I'm assuming he's supposed to be like a Frenchman or something, but it's super funny. That he can like step in and just be like, no, you love me, and he gets slapped. He's like, "Oh, you hit so hard, you must love me more." Really fantastic. Leads to that thought that we had that if Soda were to find out about Desumi being the Reaper Princess, that he would have been fine with it. Pistachio, again, is the stoic samurai guy. He's making freaking noodles at the beach. Skamen or whatever, where it's like the noodle that you dip into the thing, if I remember, but he hands him just single bowls, so I was confused by how it was Skamen. We can complain about that. I can double check that too. Hold on. I may be upset with this guy, but overall, having him in the kimono shorts, the jinbei, which was just great to have him in that thing. And then freaking Big Gelato, Grandpa, Professor Gelato is like, "Come on, let's go test the robot. Oh, it's part of my 12-piece combining mech, but it's not an important piece because it's just the calf." It's like, why are there 12 pieces? You only have 5 Rangers. How are they going to connect everything if there's only 5 of them? And then he's like launching fireworks, and then the smoke is like choking him out. It's so funny. It's so well done. He's like, and when it starts, you go from the all of their beach gear is swimsuits, and then Bear is like, "Make sure you this isn't a vacation." And he's like slipping down his pina colada or whatever, and then it switches over to the boat, and the professor's like, Mikasa is, or Misaki, is Misaki or Mikasa? I forget. And he's like, "Don't drink that. Drink this one, it's cold." And he tosses her one from the hammock. It's like, yes. See, everybody just wants to have a good time. This is why super evil organizations don't exist. The only organizations that exist are ones that want all of your money, and they'll do whatever it takes to get it. And that's okay, because if what it takes to get it is make you happy, then you're happy when they take your money. So it works. You just have to make sure that when they take your money, you're happy. Oh. You think Pistachio reveals it to the group without realizing they are dating? I think Pistachio, based on the ending, realizes who it is. I also think that with the honor of a samurai, he's going to confront Fudo mano a mano to be like, "Do you know who your girlfriend is?" And then Fudo will be like, "Yes, it's Desumi." And he's like, "Do you know who Desumi is?" And it'll be one of those back and forth. Oh, hold on. What was I was double checking one of these though. Hold on. I wanted to see if he actually says Skamen. Because if he says Skamen, then I'm a little cranky with his bowl handing there. So let's jump into this. Jumping into the show, we wanna watch it just so we can know if I am right or if I am wrong. I gotta know before the end of this song. Here it is. Also, the dating comment and then Pink's face. Damon. Okay, no, he does say Damon. Okay. Never mind. I misheard Skamen. Skamen is where the noodles are separate and you dip them into a broth. It's a really thick ramen broth and it's really delicious when you do it that way. But it is different than ramen. Whew. Just got very, very lightheaded all of a sudden. Don't mind me. I'm just over here trying not to pass out. Can you tell I loved this episode? I already was in love with this show. And this episode just was everything that a beach episode needed to be. And really just added so much fun characterization. Like, I want to be on the beach right now, launching fireworks and barbecuing and doing everything they're doing. It's only fair. It's only fair after seeing how much fun they had that I want to do the same. Oh my goodness. Where did that go? Wait a minute. Holy crap. Ooh. Birdie Wing, the golf anime, has it just revealed a sinister human trafficking slub plot? This was written 30 minutes ago! This article dropped right when I went live! We're doing it live! This is just the greatest in the sector. Greatest in the sector. I was gonna read this one about how they teased the beginning of a mafia war, but maybe we talk about how great this sinister human trafficking plot is, because it's hot off the presses 32 minutes ago. Look at that, Gregory Segel. E-Class, like you were saying, Birdie Wing is fantastic. Because it's not just golf, it's also family. And anything that goes beyond its surface level and starts talking about family is a great show in my eyes. While Birdie Wing seems lovely on the surface, it continues to show its dark underbelly with mafia groups and potentially human trafficking. Oh no. Rebellion's Cry, we have seen this one. Yeah. Sweet! Watch out. You get a holler and you might find yourself a truffle hunter. And then you gotta watch yourself. Especially if you're sick like me. Truffles aren't exactly solid if you know what I mean. Truffle hunter's looking for a little extra sauce. Whew, that's disgusting. Yeah, I didn't eat it. I didn't eat shit. Episode 6 of Birdie Wing, a golf girl story, Rebellion's Cry. Eve is trained by her former adversary, Viper. Don't forget underground golf gambling! And I hope we get some more underground golf gambling. Eve reflects upon her past and the people she's fighting for. Ultimately, she wants to save her home and continue to improve the quality of life for her family. She must succeed in the upcoming match. While fans still have a lot to learn about how Eve came to play golf, her lack of biological family, and the dark past of her adopted sisters, this episode manages to provide an insight that hasn't previously been seen from learning of Eve's... Get out of here, Spider-Man! Seen from learning of Eve's sporting mentor, Decline, and Lily's potential occupation. It's clear that this series is a little more sinister. See? Sinister! Having a dark underplot. Reality is never as clean as we want it to be. There's always a little oof under the surface, and it's okay if our fun, cool shows have a little oof under the surface as long as we handle it well. It's when it's handled poorly that we kind of all right, whatever, who cares? After being abruptly pulled out of the VR golfing world by Lily, Eve discovers that her adopted family has little time to save their home. The Mafia's contracted builders are beginning to tear down the surrounding area in an effort to make way for the new casino building that has left Klein, Lily, and Eve with limited options, as they don't have the cash or influence to find another home without their adopted immigrant siblings being discovered and deported by the authorities. Why are those babies being taken from their parents? Arr! In a desperate bid, Lily suggested they should go back to Norman, who might let them live with him while they work. From previous episodes, it can be inferred that Lily might have been a prostitute in the show's premiere episode, Rainbow Bullet. Eve is taken back when Lily comments that she bet a Gundam figure rather than her body. While Eve discusses Lily's chastity in jest, the show has continuously demonstrated a dark underbelly amid its bright colors, keeping fans guessing. Isn't that how bright underbellies are? After a flashback of Eve's past that reveals her first encounter with Klein and Lily, she discusses the Viper, how she wanted to do something to help them after they took her in. Although Eve does not directly state what Klein and Lily's occupation was, she does explain. Just finished voting. Steel X Mr. Bear aren't a couples option. No! We're just going to have to make Steel and Bear the number one in both categories. If we can make Steel and Bear number one in both categories, it'll be Steel X Bear for the win. FTWs all around. Wait, they are? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. To what you got doesn't make a difference if we make it or not. We got each other, and that's a lot for me. Yeah, Culver and Bear X Kyoko, right there. Check. Check. It's right there. It's like you gotta use Control F and type in bear. That's the secret. I voted. I voted. That's a lot for love. We'll give it a shot. Oh! Were you there? Whoa! Dizzy eyes. Yeah. Your dizzy eyes, my dizzy ears. Oh my. Hold on. Is that? I think. Interesting. Birdie Wing is actually being made by BN Pictures on this voting list. But wouldn't BN Pictures literally just be Sunrise? Like, isn't Sunrise the Bandai Namco? No, it says BN Pictures on the wiki as well. You didn't know you could do multiple? Well, good for you, because you can vote multiple times! If you go back in, you can vote as many times as you want, I'm pretty sure. I'm Badger and Badger. I thought Bandai Namco's studio was basically all done through Sunrise. I didn't realize that they had a whole nother studio that did shows. Yeah, interesting. Oh, hiccup. Hiccup. How interesting. Anyway, back, where were we? Where were we? I don't remember. Just randomly reading articles on the internet about shows and anime and things I enjoy. While people watch because they want to talk about what they enjoy too. You don't usually vote twice, but you voted twice. So you could get Steel and Bear. Good. And what's important, it's not about voting multiple times as like a rule or wrong or anything like that. What it's about is making sure that your voice is being heard. And if that means you've got to reload that page and actually vote for what you really needed to vote for, then do it. And if you're like, well, did I vote this week? Did I do that? Go back and do it again. Sometimes you forget. Sometimes you got to jump in and do it. Steel Princess is an option for Best Girl? I mean, to be fair, she's had 2 episodes, so I could see her not getting a Best Girl option. But at the same time, let me guess, they've got every character from Shikimori on there, would be my assumption, right? Hold on, is this still all the men? Here we are, female. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Birdie Wing. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Kunoichi. Look at all of the Kunoichi characters. Holy crap. Are you sure they don't have Love After World Domination? Here we go. Kita, Urami, Ron. Oh, how sad is that? Come on. Isn't her name Kolka? Kolka or something like that? Interesting. Meanwhile, they have like, look at this. Miss Shachiku, the little baby ghost, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 characters. And Onipon, that like nobody watches, has 6. They couldn't even get Steel in there for the vote for Best Girl. How dare they? Although Eve does not directly state what Klein and Lily's occupation was, she does explain their lives are way worse than hers and is lost for words when attempting to recall the job they were doing. At just 14 and 10 years old, respectively, it appears that Klein and Lily were being trafficked by an underground organization. Yeah, that is very, very bad people. Bad and wrong. They're badong people. We only do 3 characters in a show. Is that why Kaguya-sama only has 3 characters, because they've got a limit to how many they can get in there? I'm surprised Love Live doesn't have a bigger Western audience. We were once in Japan and there was a straight up Love Live otaku priest. We were at the Love Live shrine, and he had a shirt and pants that were a Love Live fabric, like just had the girls like repeating all over it. He had a shoulder bag that the entire strap was covered in little buttons of Love Live characters, and the bag, of course, itself was Love Live. He had a bucket hat with more pins of like Love Live characters. Dude was just a walking shaman. He had to be some sort of warlock. It was amazing. It's crazy. Love After World Domination has like 5 you wanted to vote for. True. Clearly the better show this season. Clearly the better show. While this hasn't been confirmed, it basically was confirmed. It certainly goes to some length to explain why these teenagers are looking after 3 young female immigrant children and are so afraid of handing them over to the authorities. Each of the girls clearly has an awareness of how the mafia and underground organizations operate. Consequently, they not only fear that the adopted children will be deported to their country of origin, but also that the mafia might influence local law enforcement and bring the children back under their control. This looming threat offers another explanation as to why Eve continues to do favors for mafia organizations. In doing so, she not only garners money to look after her family, but also buys protection from the mafia bosses in an effort to avoid whomever they previously escaped from. It also would explain why she doesn't just work for the mafia. Because if she worked for the mafia, she'd be able to solve some problems, but she doesn't want to like help them because of what they did to her friends, that kind of a thing. Eve's past is also explored after Viper comments that her training session was pretty tough on her. This leads Eve to explain how she's done stuff 10 times worse when training with her mentor Leo. While little is still known about this character, fans learn that he offered to pay for her group's living expenses if she agreed to study golf with him. After 3 years, Leo mysteriously disappeared, which led Eve to start playing betting golf so she could make enough money to live. Hopefully, as more episodes are released, fans will learn not only more about Eve's past, but also her relationship with her adopted family. While theories of prostitution and human trafficking are still speculative at this point, it appears that Birdie Wing's golfing world is far darker than viewers expected. The series is starting to explore several interesting dynamics, particularly in relation to sex and power. While on the surface, the series tells a simple sporting narrative, it continues to add elements that provide social commentary on the disparity of wealth and examine how power can corrupt. The Love Life Sorcerer Supreme, yes, he stepped right out of his madness into our lives. And his wand, 2 glow sticks. He does like all the dincy dancing. All the dincy dancing they do with their wands. Those crazy sorcerers. Those goofy sorcerers. Something that got me thinking this week. People always talk about how CG's bad in anime. Oh, that bad CG. That CG looked like crap. Oh, look at that bad CG. We all remember Gigak or the Anime Zone or Garns, whatever you want to call him, making fun of Golden Kamui. You can be that, but for the show about golf. Exactly! I'll be on the golf course with all of my golf apparel. It's all birdie winged out, and I'll be like, what? Get ready to lose to my rainbow bullet. And they'll be like, what? And I'm like, yes. Blue bullet! Oh, good. Only gotten through the first 4. Oof, you're in for a ride, my friend. Oof. You're getting right to the funnest parts. Very exciting overall. Episode 5 was a bit of a character developer, but there's some behind the scenes things that happen that I think you'll get excited by. And then episode 6 was a all-out romp, and now we are on pins and needles, walking on glass to try to figure out how we can wait for episode 7. Typically don't like CGI, but a few shows pull it off really well. Here is the thing. Here's the reality. Here's your truth pill. I don't know if it's black or white or red or whatever. You just don't notice when the CGI is good. Does everybody remember? Like in Kaku's episode 1. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that CGI was bad. That was bad CGI. You just don't notice when the CGI is good, because when the CGI is good, it's being used in a small, subtle way to make it so that they don't have to do something. Or if the CGI is good and you do notice it, then we're talking about like Land of the Lustrous, where you're like, wow, they actually made fully CG'd stuff that looks pretty decent. Or MF Ghost, where you're like, oh, okay, this is what all of those old car CG designs were leading to. That would be really good. 86, another good example. They use, well, and I think we'll get to 86. Even more so with that, where I like when they use CG for mechanical things, for things that are supposed to be kind of unreal. Like I love a drawn mech. I love Gundams that are being drawn. I love Escaflowne. I love a lot of that. But even the old Gainax was using CG to make Evangelion look even better. So there's a fine line between I like the old CG stuff. However, there's stuff that I really like that actually uses CG for mechs or cars or robots or something like that in order to, I'm sure they're saving a buck on like how they're doing it, but I really like the way that it ends up coming across as this is clearly an unnatural thing that's been designed, like this giant robot, that kind of thing. Wasn't good or great in Ranking of Kings. Yeah, I think Ranking of Kings, the overall disparity between design and theme made it so that I didn't really care. They probably could have gone full reboot on me, and I would have been like, okay, yeah, this is what we're doing now, and then switched into like a 60s yellow submarine design and been like, okay, cool, all right, I get it. I'm with it. He's showing 86 to your bro, so you're holding off in the last 2 episodes to watch it with him. Well, then soon enough, you'll be with all of us waiting for the next one. I really like 86. I think it's done really well. I think it's definitely something that reminds me a lot of one of my favorite anime, Full Metal Panic. But I'm excited to see it kind of. I hope it wraps up. I hope it finishes. I think that would be nice for 86 to get through. But to go along with that, love it or hate it, we're stuck with 3D and CG. Work in anime. Oop, I didn't click on this one. There we go. There we go. One more. There we go. Reincarnated as a spider was miss more than it was a hit. The fact that they use CG so often for the human characters is really what caused problems. If it had stuck to like occasionally for some of the monsters, okay, and like if the monsters went back and forth. A great example is Reincarnated as a Skeleton Knight this season. Reincarnated as a Skeleton Knight goes back and forth with the Skeleton Knight as CG and 2D throughout some scenes. Like if he's far away doing some stuff, like he was kind of exercising in the most recent episode and doing some other things while he waited, and he was CG'd, he looked pretty good. He looked like a modern video game anime, like a Genshin Impact character sort of doing stuff. So like it was a little goofy, but they made sure to like cut out a frame so that he kind of had that animation jump to it. It wasn't super smooth. Plus just the shading on his armor is really well done. And then when we get back to him like talking to people and in a group, he's back to 2D. So like they use CG to sort of like save a bit, even though you've got to build the model or whatever. But it's I wanted to see something like that if they were going to do that in Spider. Human parts of the show weren't in the source material. Really? That I didn't know. I thought the human parts and all, once you kind of figure out what's going on with everything, you're like, oh, what? It's a very strange thing overall. Spider shot themselves in the foot and someone accidentally deleted all the CGI work. What? Hold on, internet. I'm a spider, so what? There we go. Fukuchi, who served as a CG assistant at Tengu Kobo on So I'm a Spider, So What, took to Twitter last Friday to explain the show's production issues in the wake of the delay of the 24th episode. His tweets are translated as follows. There are a lot of insensitive tweets from people who don't know the production situation. The outsourced animation on multiple episodes completely broke down, and Milipensi had to redo it all from scratch. The staff ended up being too busy for the later episodes that were set aside for them, which is a large reason for the poor quality. The staff are quite literally killing themselves to deal with this. Please be patient. I do agree with the sentiment that regardless of the situation at the studio, what ultimately matters is what gets broadcasted. No matter what the reason, missing the broadcast is heavily frowned upon, but I made this tweet because I wanted people to know that my friend's studio is battling desperately in the sake of anime. Oh, I heard the head guy, so when the fans were screaming over the delays. Yeah, this looks... I didn't realize that. That's crazy. And it looks like it was an outsourced animation issue. So, oh, that sucks. You're almost done with your essay and your computer crashes and you forgot to save. And you're like, no! And you got to write the whole thing again. Jeez. I could see a light novel being able to be just Spider-Girl. But I could see an anime being just Spider-Girl after it being like the whole class and then missing sort of that other half. I could see both options, as long as you're working with the original writer to flesh out that story as it bounces back and forth. I think you're okay. I liked what we ended up getting story wise. I will have to say that it did suffer, and now we know why. There we go. There's the rules. Them's the secrets. Them's the breaks. This is an old article that I ran into because someone was complaining about CG, and they're like, man, CG in the 2000s was really when CG started sucking. It's like, yeah, CG always kind of sucked. Do you remember Reboot? Does anybody else remember Reboot? I remember Reboot. CG sucked for a long time. The human stuff was a later book, and they combined the books together. Exactly. Like, if it's part of the story already, I think it makes sense in the anime realm to combine them so that you can sort of have these two stories that are converging. I think that I think that gives the audience something extra to look at rather than just, how is Spider-Girl going to deal with this great monster this week? It sort of gets kind of But if there's sort of that extra little bit of like politics and like, oh, this kingdom does this, blah, blah, blah. And even if it's a bunch of jargon, you're still like, all right, cool, yeah, kingdom do things. Significantly weaker than the Spider story. Right. All right. So, like I said, bad CG is bad. Bad CG is bad. However, there's lots of CG that's okay. And CG's been bad for a long time, so the fact that people blame the 2000s always frustrates me. However, I do get it, because Gonzo comes out and is like, you know what? We're going to do everything we can in CG. We're going to draw everything we need to, but anything we can get away with, we're going to CG it. And so Gonzo really set the stage for CG it to save a buck. And so a lot of studios have followed suit, which is always interesting to me because you have to build a 3D model. And I feel like, how much time are you saving building a 3D model and then using that versus just drawing it? Like, someone has to look at how often they're going to use this model and figure out how many frames they're going to save, how much draw time they're going to save, and be like, yes, it'll be worth it to build a model to then use for this scene or whatever. Or building models has just gotten so easy that they're like, yeah, whatever, build a model, who cares? And they just get it done on Fiverr or whatever. Depending on the show you watch, you might think they got it done on Fiverr. But this was interesting to me. So CGI anime was introduced in 1983 in Golgo Fit 13, the film. Does anybody remember Golgo 13? I remember Golgo because Golgo is one of my friend's favorite anime characters. And I think it's hilarious. Oh, this is just a generic history of anime. Does anybody on, like, do we all know what Golgo is? Do I have to pull up Golgo? Oh, Golgo, be safe. Okay. Golgo 13 is this assassin guy who uses an M16 with a scope. And fights and shoots, and he's an assassin and does the assassin stuff. It is the longest running manga, and the author, when he was basically like, I'm gonna die soon, listen up everybody, everyone who cares, listen to me, I wrote Golgo 13, keep writing Golgo when I die. And they were like, oh, okay. It's not like Berserk here, where it's like, oh, should we finish Berserk? Should we try to finish Berserk? Should we do this? It's like, he was like, he's an assassin who does things. You've been reading my books. You know what he does. Keep him killing after my death. And so they made Golgo 13 continue on. Have a wonderful time doing whatever you're doing. I'd say poop quick, but I feel like you just bring me with you into the bathroom, which is kind of weird if you think about it. Like, hey, how you doing? You push a little harder, bro. So Golgo 13, the movie, has these CGI helicopters. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of them. This was in the 80s. Oh, it's so bad. This is what it looked like. Just the worst. 1983 CG with a 1983 CG background. And fighting against that was super well drawn Golgo. Like, really cool guy Golgo. And then he's shooting at these CG helicopters, and it was awful. It's just so stupid looking. You're like, why would you do that? But they had to crawl so someone else could walk. This author is great. The fact that somebody who made a show that's that long going, that isn't a, company corporate owned situation, is able to be like, no, go take this show, keep it going. I don't remember. Somebody commented recently about what like Golgo 13's most recent hit was, but like he gets pulled into everything. I don't remember. I'm not going to pull this up. But they're always able to basically, like, 1995, he's dealing with the Clinton administration and Iraqi super guns. Like, he's always able to do whatever's, like, the current awesome thing, because that's just kind of what his character is. He's like the James Bond of anime and manga, or manga specifically. So he's always able just to be pulled. They're like, go get called Golgo, or whatever his actual name is. I always forget. But that was the first time we saw CG in anime, and we were like, ugh. I mean, I wasn't, because I wasn't born for the next like 7 years, but that's okay. Through much of the 80s, CG was primarily in its infancy and would not become more commonly used until the 90s. Novelty for most of the early 90s, CG first found some roots and success in the 1995 release of Ghost in the Shell. A lot of people look at Ghost in the Shell and they look at the TV series and like, oh, the TV series really started using CG with the Tachikomas, but they look drawn. So no, it's CG. And it was CG in the movie. In the original Ghost in the Shell movies, they use CG. CG's been around forever. In fact, Ghost in the Shell is probably why we have CG as robots now. And boom, this article agrees with me. From there, CG found itself mostly used for backgrounds and various effects. That is, until studio. Various effects would be like how Evangelion, Gainax used CG for effects quite a bit, and then Mononoke used CG as well. A lot of people don't remember that part of the show, but there was a really weird CG part in that show, but it worked because it was supposed to be supernatural, supposed to be weird, supposed to be like, oh, that's so not of this earth. So it works when CG is worked well. Then King Gonzo. I love Studio Gonzo. They make some of my favorite movies. Last Exile, Gonkutsuo, The Count of Monte Cristo, and Welcome to the NHK, one of the best anime there is. Great show. Good to put your life in perspective. But what some people may not realize, we're fascinated by the use of computer-generated content in their productions. At one point, the studio was the industry leader in the effects of CG content, but has since fallen from that position. Taking a look at their earlier works, it's easier to see how technology advanced, and they were just how technologically advanced they were for their time. But today, much of what Gonzo is doing at a premium has not aged well. Can be done more cheaply and easily today. The use of CG could be considered to have hit mainstream audiences. Oh yeah, here we go. With Ghibli's 1997 classic Princess Mononoke. Moving from the 2000s, CG began to explode in its use and became a lot more prevalent. 3D models were fairly common during this time for the series, featuring mecha such as Code Geass, to the Love Live franchise characters, because Love Live has been around forever! Fully computer animated anime was pretty rare and still are even today. Many of the works, such as 09's Oblivion Island, were met with poor reception, didn't really take off. And in 2014, a fully CG Knights of Sidonia was released. Expelled from Paradise was a really well done CG anime. And then this one also goes on to talk about Ajin and Berserk, which are whatever. I just wanted to read that, talking about how CG's been in anime for a really long time. Now, what does CBR think? The 10 best CGI anime. Evan Maroon has written 7 articles. 7 articles! Come on, get on the level of someone like Louis Kemner. Really quickly here, we have High Score Girl. That show is kind of goofy. I wouldn't have put that in here. Berserk! Golden Age Arc. Why would you put that one there? It wasn't that good. Advent Children was okay. Stand By Me, Doraemon, like that's like a Pixar. It's hard to call that CG anime. Dorohedoro is really well done. I like Dorohedoro. It's goofy, but when you pause it, it really does feel like you're watching an anime as opposed to like a CG anime. So really well done there. Promare. I love Promare. It's surprising how much of it is CG'd when you watch it again, but it really is so well done. But this is like super modern, super well done CG from a studio that just goes crazy with their stuff. Beastars, we've all seen. It's done pretty well. I still get kind of goofy with the way they kind of float around. High Score Girl 2, you cheated! You cheated. You can't put two seasons of the same show on the list. Berserk again? This person's cheating with their articles. Get out of here. Land of the Lustrous, 100%. This show is really well done. Can't believe they would put 2 shows on there twice. The integrity of the article writers are insane. How could they talk like this? Why would they do that? Don't compare this mere mortal living legend as Louis Kemner. In 3 years, Louis Kemner wrote over 4,000 articles on anime on one website. He actually submits to another website that like sends his stuff around or whatever. Opinion on deleting Twitter so you can avoid spoilers for things you like. Ooh, depends. I have the issue where if I go on Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, like if I go online, I'm going to get a spoiler for something because that's just how algorithms work. And so every race weekend, like if Formula has a race, then I basically have to not go online until I've watched the race. Once I've watched the race, then I can go online. But you can pull up YouTube and there will be a video that's like Red Bull's reaction to, and you're like, great, now I know something that happens in the race this weekend, and it sort of like ruins that. So I don't know that deleting Twitter can cause you to avoid spoilers for things you like. It may be useful to delete Twitter if Twitter's like a problem, but if you can just not go on Twitter for a while, then you'd be okay. The thing you got to really do is just turn off those stupid push notifications. That's the worst part. You got to go in and you be like, don't send me notifications of anything other than somebody like sending me a DM or responding to something that I wrote. You got to change it to those two things so that you don't just get the random like, hey, do you want to see who won in this week's quali? Like, you know, and you're like, well, no, I don't want to do that. I'm not opening you because I don't want to see the message of who's the number one qualifier this weekend. You really only have that problem with Twitter. If you only have that problem with Twitter and you're sick of spoilers, weren't we just talking about how you're spoiling a show for yourself so that you can be happier watching it? Isn't that you? Like, how are you the same person here? Oh, until Fire Warrior emblems. Just delete the app. Delete the app and turn off the emails. If it's just going to be for like a few months. I don't think you have to like delete it. I don't think you have to like delete your Twitter, but you can just like delete the app for a little bit. That's fine. Never used Twitter. It's insane. I feel like back when I was on MySpace, that's kind of how I feel with it. Cause when I was growing up and I had like MySpace and everything, it was basically just a messaging platform and commenting platform between you and all of like your friends and people that you thought were interesting. But you could also like search up like a cool band that you liked and you could go to the band, you could like talk to the band about things you like. So I see it as that same, it's just a communication tool if you use it properly. But it is also very just your brain can explode with how much info is out there and how much stuff gets posted and just constant. Like if you think it like what's the latest for like how many hours of videos are uploaded to YouTube? $3,000 hours of uploaded content per hour to YouTube. How many tweets are sent out? 6,000 tweets are made every second. Every second. Jeez. Had MySpace, have a Facebook, never got Twitter. That's okay. It's only useful if it's useful. That's how any social media is, right? Like Facebook is good for keeping in touch with the family. Instagram, if you really like taking pictures of stuff, then you know having an Instagram makes sense to be able to share that if you want to share the pictures that you're taking. If you want to connect and communicate to certain people, having a Twitter can make sense as well. Like if you want to be part of certain discussions. Outside of those areas, like really none of them are super necessary. At the end of the day, no social media is really necessary when it comes down to it. They're just either useful or they're not useful. And if they're not useful, then why would you have them? And if they're going to do like what's happening here with Michael, where they're going to start ruining something you do enjoy, then maybe you should just delete it for a bit. I wouldn't get rid of the account, though. I'd keep the account just in case you want to go back afterwards to join the communications, to join the party. I had to do the same thing. Like I had to, like, when Elden Ring was coming out, I like figured out how to block all of like the Google updates and everything on my cookies. I was like, no, not Elden Ring, anything but FromSoft stuff, to try to avoid every spoiler I could. And I got a couple, but I feel like I did pretty well. You only go on for 2 accounts at this point, but every time you open it, see the home screen, there's some fan art based off the new Fire Emblem trailer you didn't watch. Yeah, that's how it works. I would say delete it and don't worry about it. But just delete the app, or just remove the website from you being able to go there. I get going and wanting to go in blind. I get that. I do that with every new FromSoft game. Every new FromSoft game, I see the announcement, and then I end it. The best for that was Bloodborne, because Bloodborne had that, like, just that creaking machinery, like, and then just ended. Wait, no, that wasn't Bloodborne. Whoop, that was Sekiro, wasn't it? Hold on. No, I want the teaser. Yeah. So we thought it was Bloodborne 2, but it was Sekiro teaser. That's what it was. Know that feeling back when the girlfriend and I were playing through Kingdom Hearts 3, couldn't go on anything at all. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, at some level, I get it, but the more I play and the more that I experience, the more I think that if you just don't watch it, or you don't click on the stuff, then it'll probably be okay. Bloodborne is wild, awful at those types of games. Still on Father Gascoigne. His name's Gascoigne, not Gestapo. Father Gestapo, what are you doing? Whatever his name is. Oh my goodness. We could rock that game. I was putting some dollops on a Twitch page, since I've been all home and sick like lately. So maybe I'll hook it up and I'll play through some Bloodborne and show you what's what. Take you on a tour of that game, because I love it. Here, let me grab probably start doing some game streams sometime through the week. Haven't really figured out exactly when or what the plan is there, but if I do play games, I'll do it over on Twitch, just to keep the algorithm understanding what's going on. But the Souls games are my favorite. The only one that I'm not a huge fan of is Sekiro, and that's just because of the way the world is designed. It reminds me too much of Dark Souls 2, which I also didn't really like. But overall, the FromSoft games are so easy for me to dive into and just spend hours and hours doing stuff in, that I love them. I love them so much. And Bloodborne is easily my favorite of the of the series. Honestly, I like the way that Elden Ring is designed as far as the world. But I'm not as big a fan of the Elden Ring story so far. Your biggest source of spoilers are YouTube thumbnails and looking up stuff you haven't finished. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the hardest part is like, oh, I want to like pull up and watch somebody else's podcast or watch something on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, there's the surprising results from the Miami qualifying races, and I'm like, I didn't want to see that. I need to be able to be like, okay, Google, hide all formula, and it'll just hide all of formula from my entire like Google across the board. Used to watch a lot of Fire Emblem related content. You can't sub to any of their accounts though because of that. Yeah, exactly. Well, and even just watching it is going to teach the algorithm that you're interested in it, and it's gonna create that feedback loop that leads to you getting more and more and more of that crap. So I get it. It's hard to avoid spoilers, but at some level, a well done story will still be fun to interact with. So that's sort of the saving grace, is going in spoiler free so that you're fresh and you're getting your idea immediately when you want to is ideal. That's perfect. However, if you see something, then you'll be okay. Like a good story that you're already invested in. If you find out, well, that guy's got a big sword, I didn't know that he had a big sword, that's gonna be cool, and then you will play it and you're like, oh, that's how he gets the big sword and that's how he uses the big sword. Like if it is done well, you're still gonna enjoy the game. You're still gonna have fun. So don't feel like your life is ruined if you do come across a spoiler. However, I do understand avoiding spoilers. So do your best to do that. History completely turned off for YouTube, so only sub to stuff gets recommended to me. Oh yeah, okay, perfect then. But yeah, no, that is one of those things. Like, Google, you are the one that serves me news. You are the one that serves me videos. You are the one that serves me basically everything. Can I just say, here's a word that I want you to get rid of? Like, is there like a parental control you can set for your own account that's not like a child account? You're just like, parental control my own account to never see Fire Emblem, and then it just blocks all Fire Emblem stuff. Should look into that. Maybe they actually have something like that. I could believe it. I could believe it. Big sword spoilers and major spoilers is Fire Emblem we're talking about. Oh, geez, sorry. I didn't realize you didn't know about the big sword spoiler. I like that developer's other game series that they never made a sequel to, and don't tell me they remade it because I don't believe in that one. Advance Wars. Advance Wars, I think, was the better turn-based strategy game. I'm gonna get some heat for that, I'm sure, but I much prefer the build troops and send troops and build troops and send troops than the relationship builder that is Fire Emblem. Just couldn't get into it. It's one of those where you're like, man, I invested a lot into this, but now it's just not working out the way I want it to. Whereas, like, I feel like halfway through a mission in Advance Wars, you can just completely change tactics and be like, you know what? Instead of heavies and mechs, we're going to build tanks. And so you just switch over to making tanks. And you just blast it with that. If you're into Fire Emblem, you might not enjoy all of Advance Wars. However, the first Advance Wars is a super fun game, really quick to play. It's on Game Boy Advance, so you can probably get it emulated pretty easily if you find a cartridge. I have the cartridge, and so I get to do the emulating and all that. However, it's really a fun one overall to play. If Guts ever shows up in a character design at Fire Emblem, I need to see it blind. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Like I said, it makes sense to need to go into a show blind just so that you get to enjoy it. I'm just saying, even if you found out that was a truth, that occurs, I know that if you really like Fire Emblem, you're still going to have fun playing the game. It's still going to help you to escape, to get away, to have some fun, and to enjoy yourself. So, best of luck in your spoiler avoiding all spoilers. However, I know that even if you catch some spoilers, you're still gonna have some fun. So, that's my life advice for you. Do your best, but still enjoy. And on that note, I am going to call it an evening. Thank you for hanging out. Smash that like button. Share this with your friends so they can see what a dedicated COVID streamer looks like. And I will catch you guys on Monday, where we will be enjoying some reviews of all the shows we watched this weekend. Maybe we'll check out some memes. Maybe we'll find some more fun articles about our favorite show of all time, which is getting delays. Oh, I forgot to say that. Hold on, all the presses. Shikimori is going to be delayed for episode 7 by a week, and then it's going to be delayed again for episode 9 by a week. Ha ha ha. They already knew it was going to happen. You're going to Matsuri, and it's basically right when the new game releases. Oh, good luck. You better play that whole game on your way to Matsuri. Otherwise, you're getting spoilers in every cosplay you see that weekend. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, everybody. Kanpai.